Now let's move on to today's perspective. And my guest today is a man who is an award-winning cartoonist from Iran. Now, he was born in Tehran, and despite being trained as an architect at Tehran University, began his career in 1990 as a cartoonist for many cultural and political magazines, especially at the end of the decade, amid the rise of reformist newspapers there. Now, his life, well, it was turned upside down when one of his cartoons incited riots amongst Azeris living in northwestern Iran. He finished up in prison for several months and he fled Iran whilst awaiting trial and settled here in France. Well, he has a new cartoon book out. It's called Trois Heures, or 3 Hours in English, and Mana Neyestani joins us now. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme today. Let's talk about the book, first of all, because it's inspired, isn't it, by 3 terrible hours that you spent trying to negotiate bureaucracy. We all know what that's like here in France, at Orly airport with your refugee travel document. Tell us how bad it was.
First, I say hello to you and your audiences. And about 3 hours, it wasn't just a matter of waiting for for issuing boarding pass, something like that. It was bad, but I know so many people, regular citizens of France, they face same situation. But it was an opportunity for me to make some questions about me, myself, my situation as a human being, which happens to be a refugee in France as well.
So it brought back bad memories for you then?
Of course, 3 hours of waiting and feeling that you are invisible, kind of invisible. It could be, it could be bad. It could traumatize you. But I try to make it something deeper about me, myself.
So you were able to kind of channel that experience and what happened to you to turn it into this book. How does the book explain or delve into what happened?
I divided the book in 3 chapters: chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, the first hour, second hour, and the third hour. And I started with my situation as a refugee, the difficulties, the social aspects of the theme and the subject. From the second part, I make it more personal. I ask myself some questions like, why do I accept the situation? Why do I accept oppression? Why can't I talk? Why can't I demand my legitimate rights? I try to find answers.
So you obviously enjoy bringing that experience and turning it into a piece of art.
This is my job. This is my work. I try to make my traumas, my pains into art, into work, into something that could be considered as a therapy for me, myself, and could be a testimony for society and the other people.
So how difficult has it been then living in an exile here in France and being able to carry on doing what you love, not being able to do it in your home country?
Of course, it's difficult. It depends on your personality as well. I'm lucky that I'm not a kind of socializing guy. I spend most of the time in my room. I move my room from country to country. I need a pen and some, white papers to draw, and of course, internet to be connected to the world, and I could move on. But it's difficult. You can't, it's not your country. It's not your language, and you have some relatives, parents that you cannot meet them anymore.
And just to explain, why this happened in the first place, I mean, you drew a cockroach, which within the cartoon was supposed to highlight the plight of the Azeri community in northwestern Iran, but some people deemed it as very offensive. I mean, do you regret doing what you did, or do you think it was just completely misconstrued?
The term of regret is about when you intend to do something, but I really didn't intend to offense anybody or to make a anti-ethnic or a kind of racist joke. I didn't meant really. I really didn't meant it. So I did a book, a whole graphic novel, 200 pages about that story, and still I think it's not enough. And still, whenever I've been asked about the story and events, I really do not know where should I start to explain, how to explain it. I think it was a big misunderstanding and misinterpretation, and it was. And it because of the situation of the country and the complexity and complex existing in the country.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? The power of art. I mean, here in France, obviously, recently, we've had those Charlie Hebdo cartoons, which have been incredibly, badly received by many Muslims. I mean, it does show, doesn't it, just how strong and passionate people get about things, particularly sometimes when art is involved.
I think it's more about impatience than the power of art. Of course, it's about power of art and cartooning as well. But the problem is that the people are impatient, and most of the time, people, they want to demand their own rights, and there is oppression, and they can't. Reach their own rights, so they become impatient, and unfortunately, something like this could happen.
And just finally, I mean, summing up what's happened to you and knowing, as we said before, how passionate you are about art. Do you feel very grateful that you're able to at least carry on with what you love, despite what's happened to you?
Yes, I'm so lucky. It is the thing that empowered me, encouraged me. It is the thing that pushed me to keep going. And I'm so happy that I have a job that I love it.
Great to talk to you today. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme. That's Mana Neyestani joining us there. His new book then, Trois Heures, 3 Hours. If you read French, obviously you can find it in French. You never know, one day maybe translated into English as well. Thanks. Main headlines on the programme. Both sides are accusing each other of shelling civilian areas in and around Nagorno-Karabakh. The ceasefire brokered by Russia now being broken by both Armenia and Azerbaijan. And the US President Donald Trump declares himself immune to COVID-19 and says he's ready to return to the campaign trail with a rally planned later in Florida.